If you're a Mac user looking for a simple to use screen recording software that's capable of creating stunning videos with minimal effort, then you've got to take a look at Screen Studio. So in this video, we'll walk through how to create a screencast video, go through all of the features that the editor has to offer, and discuss some of the pros and cons with using this tool. Let's not waste any time and get straight into it. So I'm here on the Screen Studio homepage. If we just have a quick browse through, we can see some of the customers that they've got. So some good names here. You can see a bit of blurb on how you can create high quality videos, no real editing skills are needed. If we scroll down a bit, we can take a look at the pricing so that we can see that the charge is $89 for a standard license or $189 if you need to install it on multiple devices. So for me, I've just got the standard license and that works absolutely fine for me. So $89 might seem like a lot, but we've got to remember that this is a one-time fee. So there's no subscription charge for this at the moment. You can just pay this and then you get the software for life. It does say that it includes 1 year of updates with that as well. So $89 really spread over a year, it seems quite reasonable for a software like this. Okay, so I've downloaded and installed Screen Studio now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire it up and I'm just going to record a simple user journey using Spotify. So when you first run Screen Studio, you get this pop-up window and you can choose whether you just want to record a single window or if you want to record your entire display. I normally just choose entire display. I find that a bit easier to use. Now, if you're using a webcam, you can just turn that on here like so. For me, I'm actually recording this video using my SLR camera, so I'm not actually using my webcam, so I'm going to leave this turned off. You can also select the microphone here as well, so I've got my Scarlett microphone set up. Okay, and I'm all ready to go. So I'm just going to hit start recording. We just see this countdown appear like so, and we get a message to say when we want to stop the recording, we just need to press this shortcut here. Okay, so the recording started now, and you can see I've just fired up Spotify. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over to the search here. I'm going to type something in. Let's just search for, I don't know, drum and bass. There we go. I'll scroll down to these options and I'll click on maybe this one here. We can browse through the songs. We could click on these, etc. You get the idea of how to record. So this is just a nice simple journey. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pause the recording. So I'm just going to press that shortcut. So once the recording finishes, the editor pops up. Just going to full screen this. So I'm just going to cut my recording or trim my recording to where the actual action starts. So I'll just move it here like so. And I'm just going to play this recording through now. So you can see here it's recorded my screen and it's already added these auto animations. And this is the really cool thing about this software, the way that you don't really have to do any editing at all. It does so much for you and it really can just save you so much time. So you can see already that this video looks nice and we haven't even had to do any edits to our screencast. Okay, so that looks great. So let's have a look through just some of the features in the editor that we might want to change. So I'm on the right hand side here and I'm just going to go through these one at a time. So the first option we've got is to add some padding. So if I do that here, we can see that the screen readjusts slightly. We can see that we've got a background here behind. So we can just change this background over here like so. You could change to something with a different color, with a different image if you wanted. So I'm just going to leave it on this wallpaper here. That looks fine for me. You can also add a bit of blur to the background as well. We go over to the body tab, we can see that we can just add a radius to our capture, so that looks nice. We can adjust a shadow as well, so you can see that the shadow's being added at the bottom. And we have some more advanced settings where we can tweak the shadow further. Now the cursor is one of my favorite features of this tool. So what we can do is we can resize the cursor to have like a really large cursor appear in our screen recording. And I find that this just looks really good if you want to just do short videos where you really want to emphasize where the user needs to click. We can change the type over to being a touch cursor as well, but I prefer to leave it set on Mac OS. So my camera options here are grayed out because I didn't use a webcam when I recorded, but the camera option here, this just has some options where you can set up the webcam and you can set the position of it as well. So if we go over to captions here, so Screen Studio also has an option to auto-generate captions. And again, you can specify which model that you want to use to generate those captions. Different models just use different amounts of space and resources and CPU. I find that the small captions file is fine in most cases and generates really good captions for you. Again, this is another really good and useful feature that really speeds up the editing time. If we go along, there's one more option here for adding in motion blur to our video. And again, this just gives it a nice polished look. Normally having to add motion blur in tools like Premiere Pro can take a lot of time. So being able to just do this so simply in Screen Studio is a really good plus. So we have different options here that we can configure the motion both for the cursor and also for the zoom here as well. We also have some pre-built ones in here as well, so for either slow, mellow, quick and rapid. So let's look at the difference between them. So if I change everything over to slow, If we watch the screen playing through, we can just get an idea of what it looks like when we've set it to slow. Okay, that looks quite nice. Let's see it on the other end of the spectrum. I'm going to set everything over to rapid this time. And you can see this time it's zoomed in a lot quicker, and you can see how the cursor on the screen is moving around a lot quicker as well. So again, this will depend on which video you're recording and the style that you want. I tend to find sticking with slow or mellow works well, but again, it's personal preference. So we can see that Screen Studio added in a few custom zooms for us here already, like so. So what we can do is we can actually adjust these. So if we wanted these to be longer or shorter, we can adjust them. So if we want to add in a custom zoom, I can just go to this point here. I just have to click like so. And then we can see that Screen Studio has added in a custom zoom as easy as that. That's really, really easy, really convenient to do. Another cool thing we can do is set the aspect ratio. So we could set it, for example, to wide or vertical, square, classic. So again, it depends on which type of media that you want to set this for. But again, this is such a handy feature to be able to just change the aspect ratio to whichever format that you need. If we take a look at the top right up here, we can set a few different presets. So this will just save all of the different settings that we've set here, like so. You can easily set those into a preset. And once you're happy with your video and you're ready to export it, you just click the export tab, and then you've got all of the simple options that you need here. So you can just export as an MP4 or as a GIF. You can choose the output size, 1080p, 4K, 720, the frame rate, and also the compression level. So generally, if you're making videos for social media, just leaving it on the social media setting is fine. If you're maybe making something more professional, you might want to switch to studio setting. But again, in most cases, social media is fine. So I'm going to leave mine on social media, and I'm just going to hit export to file. We'll give that a few seconds to complete the export work. Again, a few seconds have passed, and now the export is done. So I've just opened up that file here in my video player, and I'm just going to play it. So we can see we've got a really nice screen capture, and that was done with just absolutely minimal effort, and that looks really nice and professional. It's really handy. This tool is so easy to use. Okay, so we've had a look around Screen Studio. Let's talk about some of the pros and cons. So the main pro of this tool is just that it's incredibly easy to set up and use. It can really make stunning screen recording straight out of the box, as we've seen in this video. Now, if you haven't got much experience with creating and editing videos, then this tool is really awesome. It can really up your game with absolutely minimal effort. And even if you do have experience, it speeds up the editing time massively. Like normally putting in the zooms and the blur effects, even when you know what you're doing in tools like DaVinci and Premiere Pro, it still takes a lot of time. Whereas with this tool, it's almost instantaneous. It's incredible. It's got some really great features built in as well, like particularly the cursor. Being able to make the cursor so big, that's a feature that's very difficult to do in other tools. Whereas with Screen Studio, that pretty much comes straight out of the box. The auto generation of captions is a really nice built-in tool as well. Now, what about the cons? So one might be the relatively expensive one-time cost. At the time of recording this video, there is no free tier for Screen Studio, so you either have to pay up front or you can't use the software. Hopefully at some point they'll introduce a trial version or maybe a version that generates a watermark in your recording. I think that would be a good thing for them to do, but at the moment you just have to pay the upfront cost if you want to use the tool. Another drawback is that it's only available on Mac, so if you're using a Mac, obviously that's not a problem, but if you're using Windows, unfortunately it's not going to work for you. Whilst the editor is optimized to be incredibly easy to use, it is lacking some features. For example, at the time of recording, you can't even do basic crops of a video. You can only crop the beginning and the end. You can't do any cutting or editing of the clip in the middle of the video, which is quite a major drawback. So although the basic features like being able to cut videos are missing, those are actually planned in the roadmap. So speaking of the roadmap, Screen Studio have actually published that. So let's take a look at that now. So if we look at their roadmap, we can see what's in progress, and we can see the top feature that's in progress is the cutting and basic video edit tools. So again, by the time you're watching this video, hopefully this will already be in place. They're also working on an option to edit captions as well, which will be really nice. And if we go down, we can see some of their planned features. So they're planning on a new recording UI, some extensions, displays, shareable links, descriptions. So it looks like there's lots and lots of features that are planned coming up, and it's good to see how much development is still being done on the tool. So it feels like the tool is already incredibly useful, but there's a lot of features missing, but it does look like those are going to come down the line. And because you're promised a year of updates with your $89 fee, hopefully these features will be available for you to use soon at no extra cost. So let's summarize everything we've talked about in this video. So if you're a Mac user without much screen editing experience and you're looking for a good screencasting tool, this really is something that you should check out. So for example, if you're building a documentation portal and you want to have lots of short little demos scattered as videos throughout the documentation, then this would be a great tool that could help you with that. If you want to make really in-depth videos for YouTube or something like that that have lots of advanced editing features, then this may not be the right tool for you. In that case, you'd probably want to use a more advanced tool like Camtasia, for example, or even something like Premiere Pro or DaVinci if you want to get really advanced. For me personally, I'm planning to use Screen Studio just to record lots of short demos. When I'm doing product demos, for example, or demos are part of our sprint, I think this will be a perfect tool for that. But I'll probably also be using it in conjunction with my more advanced tools like Premiere Pro when I want to add more advanced cuts and features and things like that. So what do you think of Screen Studio? Have you tried it yet? What features would you like to see added? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. But that's all for this video. See you in the next one.